Welcome. All right. Welcome to Thursday afternoons. With Cynthia. And what are we doing here? All sorts of things. Contemporary mysticism. How about that? Does that sound good? Contemporary mysticism. So this is officially your on demand, Cynthia on demand, where we touch in free to see what's going on with you. And I mean, it's different every week, a little. Ultimately, it's about conscious evolution and how to navigate all levels of self and how we have a relationship or how we relate to, because we've all got a relationship to fear and to love. Let's face it. Some of the relationships might need a little sprucing up. They may need a little courting or a little zhuzhing, maybe bring an aspect of yourself, something that you like. I was going to say flowers, but a lot of people don't like flowers. I love flowers. I tend to like them best on the plant. But I've stopped saying that because sometimes it makes people happy to give. And who am I? Who am I to prevent that giving happening? So, but I do like a plant. So I often get little pot plants or seedlings, vegetable plants. Eric comes home when he's been to the shops and he'll say, I bought you some flowers, and it'll be cauliflower and broccoli and asparagus. We're like, is asparagus the flower? Does it? Yeah, I don't know. I've grown asparagus. I don't recall them having a flower as such. So I guess they are the flower in some way, because then they go to seed, don't they? I do remember it going to seed. I don't remember ever seeing my asparagus plant go to like flower. But anyhow, that's my story. All right, so we're here for a short time. And I'm just going to touch on it. A little bit of something, right? And we'll see where we go from there. Once we wrap up here on the live, I better let you in. I better let you into the Zoom room. We'll go over to the Holistic Mystic Mastermind, or the Inner Circle, where we are going to do a process. That's where we do our deeper dive and answer your questions, see what's going on for you. All right. So, if you're new here, you probably are aware that I don't use the word empowered very much, unless it's in this way to tell you that I don't use the word empowered very much. Why? Because I really want to give you the message loud and clear that it's not about me empowering you or anyone else empowering you. The power is in you. So you're in power, in your power, right? So we can be in our power, and often we don't feel like we are. So just think about that for yourself. Do you feel in your power? Do you feel like you have any power? You can put a Y or an N in the chat. Feel like you're talking to me, especially those on the Zoom, because you can talk to me. So this is just a reminder. Humans can be in their power. They have power. You have power to be in. I-N, not E-M. The only time you really see me using the word empower is when I was doing the empower readings, which was energy medicine, EM power readings, empower readings. So you can be in your power. So again, connect with yourself a little, or just do a little sweep of your thoughts, your thoughts, your feelings, your sensations. Do you feel in your power today? Or maybe you need a little map to find that spark. That's okay. Right? Life is the wave. Life is the up and down. We don't want a flat line. We don't want to be in that sort of balance, because that's not growth. Okay, so I'm going to go into utilizing fear, how to be in your power and utilize FEAR to consciously heal and evolve. Okay. So when we show up here, I talk about how to regulate your nervous system or the reactions and behaviors for an intuitive body, healthy mind. The physical, energetic, soul to spirit. Intuitive body. Most people would say intuitive mind. No, intuitive body and healthy minds, multiple minds, how we can integrate the minds. And some of you know how to do that. Let me just check there's no one waiting in the waiting room. No, you're good. And, once in a while, okay. And yes, we got some a little once in a while, and we got a yes, and I can't see any other comments. But I'm going to give you a free link in a moment for the people who are on the live and floating in and out. I can sort of see numbers coming in and out. I can't see who you are unless you comment. So if you're there watching, say hi. If you've got a question, ask your question. I'll give you a link so that you can FEAR to consciously heal and evolve. What am I talking about? Right? We have this charge. Talked about this before. I'll continue to talk about it until we no longer have to, because everybody knows how to, right? We get to release the voltage of our fears, the voltage our fears require and hold on to. Right? What does that mean? Do you know what that means? Did you know that your fears, whether it's fear of love or fear of fear, you're fearing, not your feelings, your fearings, how much energy and voltage and charge that takes from your system. And so when you have that understanding or that awareness, that consciousness, that, you know, you're holding all that that experience, that sensation is holding charge that could be utilized for the rest of your body. We get to release that voltage our fear holds on to, and we can utilize the charge for a more efficient and effective way of energizing our body and minds for our soul to spirit journey, human evolution. So just let's take a little, what do you call it? A little audit. Is that the word? Little audit of where your focus is. And I'm assuming you're interested in, your health, wellness, and vitality and your human evolution. Otherwise, I'm not sure you would have jumped on here. Is there a specific area that you're focusing on at the moment? And there's no right or wrong answers. It's just having a consciousness. Do you have awareness of how your physical body is from day to day, how it feels? And often it's, how it feels because it hurts or it's tight or it's screaming at us in some way. But when we're traveling well and that energy is moving through, in other words, we aren't either feeling the body or we're not aware of the language, the transmission, the information that's coming through, either because we're distracted or we have some aspect of the freeze response. We're numb to our physical system. Okay, so just take a little mental note. If you've got your journal, or you know what I'm going to show you, don't you? The ladies I showed yesterday. Journal. So get your journal. You haven't got one yet. This is the Spirit Whisperer Series 5 Ego Evolution Journal. It'll be available next week. Next week. All right. So, and it's blank page journal. So I've been using it. You can see, I've been writing it. So get your journal, and just make a note what and how any of what I've said is relatable for you and your experience. If you're very focused on your energy or your subtle energy or your spiritual bodies, the 10 spiritual bodies, if you know about those, if you don't know about them, you're probably not focused on them. Although, the arc line, which is our intuition or an aspect of our intuition, so you may not know it's the arc line, but if you're, working on your skill or refining your intuitive capacities beyond the instinct, then you will be somewhat working with some of the spiritual bodies, right? Whether you know what they're called or not. Whether you're doing energy medicine or energy first aid. Is that your focus? Let's make a note. Again, there's no right or wrong. You're literally just bringing awareness to where your focus is. Because if that's not what's valuable to you, then that energy is going somewhere where maybe it needs to go somewhere else, or there's something else going on. I'm going to suggest to you that every level, every aspect is touched upon and you're conscious with daily. If you don't know how, well, come over and more regularly and ask, and we can look at those, the how to, right? So that we're building a relationship with the physical body, the energetic body, right? The minds, the soul, so that we have our map or our vehicle prepared for soul to spirit, human evolution. From Homo sapiens sapien to Homo spiritus or Homo luminous, right? The expanded full potential of the human as a species. So maybe you are focusing and meditating and working on transcending the physical, or your current identity. I had somebody tell me that yesterday. But anyway, that's a talk for another day. Again, no, not right or wrong. It's just what your beliefs and conditions are around those words and around those ways of knowing. So again, I'm not necessarily giving you anything other than questions to contemplate, right? How you can be in your power rather than give your power to me. And there are times when we can do that, right? So there's the done for you, right? So asking of me, right? To do a session, to build your systems, to, mentor you, coach you, heal, do healings and whatnot. Then there's learning to do that yourself. So I'm looking down there because the little faces are down there. I'm going to put you up there so I'm not looking down too much. Hi. I like to look at you. I find myself looking down there. What was I saying? Heal yourself, right? Learning skills, learning modalities, learning all sorts of ways of knowing, healing others, and healing together. So if you look at my model, I don't have my book here, but it is a circle. It is the mandala I talked about on Tuesday. And each part of my business touches into one of those things, where it's first aid, right? So first aid I can do for you, or you can do on yourself or for others. Sitting in grace is healing together. Learning different modalities or different ways, whether it's trance healing or energy medicine at a higher level and whatnot, so you can assist others. And what was the other one? Oh, the surgery, where you come to me for your one-to-ones, your ongoing deep work, right? So where are you at in your own development? And it could be that you're doing a little bit of all of it. I know that some of you are. You work with me one-to-one. You've learned to heal and regulate your nervous system. You've learned different ways of knowing, and you've shared with others when you've seen that they've been in need. You've asked, can I share this? And I say, of course you can. Now, there are some things, I wouldn't be teaching it on a live like this though. There are some methods that I would say don't do on other people unless you've learned the contraindications, right? Meaning, if you're working with something for trauma and you go out and you start, taking people to stuff that you don't know how to put back in the, you open Pandora's box and you've left somebody just in the misery of it all. And you don't know how to titrate that or access that, right? But I wouldn't be teaching you that here. So there are all those spaces. All right. What else do I want to tell you? So we can regulate our behaviors, our habitual patterns, which are in our physical, held in our physical, held in our energetics, held all through our systems, really. And it doesn't really matter which way or what language you use. So if I say a fear. So Tuesday we talked about the mandalas and the tree rings. So you can go back and watch that if you missed it. But and how our experiences are encoded not only in our physical and in our mind, but in our energies. And so there are different ways, different modalities, different understandings. So ultimately, we're fueling your human potential on these levels of physical, right? Or what we would say, the 3 levels of intuition, right? That instinct, that gut instinct, to the intermediary, where you could touch into, you know, spirit on certain levels, and then the divine intuition, which takes a little more refinement to be able to go direct. So however you look at those levels or those ways of understanding, you know, heaven and earth, or the spiritual, the survival ego, spiritual ego, unconditional ego. They're just different ways of knowing, different ways of looking and understanding and having consciousness around it. Because once you can see the truth in it all, you see it all everywhere. It doesn't matter what language you use. So I hear people speaking. It's really interesting. I'm interviewing at the moment. And so next week, I'll be putting out the opt-in page for Spirit Whisperer Series 5, Ego Evolution, which is about this, how to turn fear into fuel for growth, right? And I've been talking to people about their fear and about, you know, how they work with it. What's their relationship? All sorts of things. Awesome conversations. And they're people from all different walks of life. It's so interesting because it's like I'm staying still and they're moving through. See what I mean? It's like speed dating all these different people about fear. And I see the love and fear in everything they're saying. What I'm getting at is that when you can see that truth, you see it in everything. So there's no right or wrong. It's perspective. It's where you can view it from. So it's been really fun to do that. So yeah, next week that will be out, and if you want a journal or some of the limited edition stuff, I still haven't got my scarf yet. When I get it, I will show you it. I'll let you know. If you don't see it on the page, it means it didn't make the cut because it has to be good quality. But anyway, I didn't come to say that, but I just happen to have it here. So I think we'll wrap that up. I mean, look, let's go through a little process, and then we're going to go over to our Zoom link, our private inner circle, to go deeper into this. But I want you to know, like I started off saying, that humans can be in their power and utilize FEAR to consciously heal and evolve. And I haven't told you, some of you know because you've been around, you're in the inner circle, you know. Or do you? Do you? I don't think I've said it like this. Let me get my little paper. And I'll tell you. I won't tell you. Oh, it just blew away. So maybe I won't tell you. But I will help you experience a little bit of it. So if there's something that you feel in your body, so I'm just going to put this link in the restream before I forget, but just bring something to mind that you feel, constricted by, not a great trauma. Maybe you've got a pain. Maybe you've got some restriction. So I put the link in the chat. So if you see that link, it takes you to a page where there is, a sign up page, but you can scroll past that if you want, or you can sign up for that guide. But go to the call button, right? If you want to talk to me about anything that we've spoken about, if you want the one-to-one work, right, then jump on and have a conversation with me, because once we start the series, my one-to-one ability hugely constricts, meaning my spots that I have for one-to-one work, which means taking you on your journey, right, over months to really do your deep dive, right, to identify where your barriers are, why you're not healing or why you're not moving forward. What are the barriers? What are your challenges? What are the fears of love and the fear of fear? Because they're either end of your experience. Fear of love is the expanded spiritual ego aspects, and the fears or the barriers to getting what you want, getting to the levels of experience your soul desires, can be limited, right? And so we can navigate that, or the fears of fear. And we have both. Some will be more prevalent than the others at different times. Anyway, if you want to talk to me about working together in that way, jump on that link and book a call. If there aren't times available that suit you because you're in another country or a different time zone, which probably are, because I don't think many of you are in this time zone, direct message me and we can sort something out. All right. So now that you've got your fear, maybe it was a fear of what I just said. Whoa, is she selling me something? Oh, I've gone into fear. I love that. So if you have, so many people, there's a huge percentage of people who when somebody does offer something, you go into, look at that for yourself, because that's a fear. If you've got an attitude around somebody serving somebody else, right, write that in your journal, because it's a trigger, meaning it's a fear. What is it? A fear of your greatness or a fear of your pain and suffering? Like, where is it on the spectrum? Because so many of you have that. I just know, I've been around a long time. It's like, oh, they just want to sell me something. Of course, if we're in service, how do you know how and what to serve if you don't put it out there? How do you know people exist if they're not in front of you? Because when you need an electrician, if you don't know where to look, if you need a doctor, there'll be one day, and I tell you, because I'm, this is how people find me. I am like the safety net of the safety net. In all the jobs I've ever had, I was always the one that when you fell through the system's net, my services caught you. The safety net of the safety net. So just make a mental note. You may not need it now, but when stuff happens that can't be explained very well by the medical professionals or your spiritual director or teacher or whatnot, well, come on here, ask your question. Okay? Because if it's not you, it'll be someone you know. The mysteries of our physical, energetics, spiritual, right? What contracts us? And maybe some systems don't understand in a way that's helpful. They just say it's, now, how many of you have hear it all the time? You know, my mum used to say it actually. She'd go to the doctor and they'd say, oh, it's just either menopause or anxiety. The amount of people that I've worked with that have had serious stuff going on. I'm not against Western medicine. I work with Western medicine. I'm just saying there are other ways of knowing that can support when certain modalities and certain ways of knowing aren't working for you. So, right? I don't know who that is, but I felt there was a little on it. All right, so F, feel it. Feel it. Meaning the sensation in your body. So just feel where you're at now. Even if you got no hit on anything, you're just like, la, 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 this is awesome. Pretending you're sitting in the ocean in Hawaii with me under this, well, not under the palm trees because the coconuts drop and hit you in the head. Feel the sensation. Embrace the experience. So, you know, that could trigger you because you may have some really difficult physical symptoms or emotional challenges. And what I'm asking you to embrace them. It's more, I'm asking if you can be conscious or aware, a little more aware, right? A little more aware. Right? So embrace the experience as life. This is, I'm alive. This is part of life. I know you might want to get out of it. I know it's tough at times. I have died numerous times. You want to talk about fear? I am not kidding you. And I just interviewed a lady who had 2 death experiences. Like she literally broke her neck. And yeah, anyway, like, so, you know, why do I feel the authority to sit here and talk about fear? Because, man, I live it. I live it. And I have a relationship, a good, respectful, courteous, humble in some ways, reverent relationship, because it's a part of me. Love and fear is what makes you. So just take a note on that. So in the series, it'll be, you know, if you're interested in it, because as people were speaking, I'm correcting, you know, in certain ways. If we talk about ego, yeah, what part of the ego? Are we talking about the survival ego or the spiritual ego or the unconditional ego? Like, what part of the self are we speaking about? Let's be a little more conscious, because then we're not just painting or tarring the whole experience, you know, in that one little but you're gonna jump from, because it doesn't feel great. Just because it doesn't feel great doesn't mean it isn't great. And we talk about that. So what was up to? Feel the sensation in the body. Embrace the experience, or you could just say experience it if you're not ready to embrace it yet, right? But even if you're not ready to embrace it, so it really is just experience the sensation. Identify, feel the sensation, experience it, meaning be with it a little, rather than trying instantly to get away from it, push it away, kick it, be disrespectful to that part of yourself that is feeling the constriction. Well, take a note of that. It's okay, again, if you do. It's like if you've had chronic health or chronic injury or a, you know, the thorn in the side type thing happening, it could be the bane of your existence. You wake up every morning hating on that, whatever it is. It's a toxic relationship. Literally, it's toxic. Okay. So feel the sensation, embrace the experience. Touching the fear of love or fear of fear. So that's what I'm saying by embracing. But you could just touch, meaning how do you just touch? So if you've got some constriction going on, something happening in your world, you've had falling out with somebody, you have a physical or mental or energetic constriction, pain, you feel like you're suffering, right? How you can meet it with compassion. It's information. It's data, it's information. It's trying to tell you something. Right? Now, did you know that you don't have to know the ins and outs of what it's trying to say? But this embrace, or the E, the FE, brings us to the A, which is accept, right? Accept, or a new relationship. Getting to the point or the place where you can accept building a new relationship if you have a toxic or detrimental relationship with fear of fear or fear of love. Fear itself is not the issue. And that it is possible. And maybe you're sitting there in the misery of it all, right? Because this is human experience. Right? It's okay. It's okay. But know that there's a possibility for something different. I'm not making this up. Am I, ladies? Am I making this up? You know, you experience the shifting. You also experience, you know, a little misery of life now and then when you go into amnesia of what you can do. It's normal. It's human. It's okay, is what I'm saying. It's okay. Right? Accept it and meet it. So that's A, right? Accept it and meet it, or accept that it's possible to build a new relationship with your experience. And the R is, once you've related, you can release and rise for revelation. So what's that mean? It relate to building that relationship. Once you've touched in the A, right? Accept, build a new relationship, accept and meet it, meet the sensation. It can release the charge that's been held to continue that transmission. Does that make sense? There's a charge, there's a voltage that is there creating the sensation. And when you can meet it without a clenched fist, like without aggression, without confrontation, you can meet it with compassion and kindness, right? And go, oh, okay, my foot's hurting or my knee's hurting, or I have an illness, or I'm scared about, you know, how I'm going to pay the rent, or, you know, am I going to get kicked out of the country because my immigration status, or whatever it might be, my relationship, or I want a relationship. Is this the right person? Am I ever going to find the right person? Is my dog going to be okay? Are my cats, they're fighting, you know, how to, whatever it is, like human stuff, not, right? General every day. The electricity's gone out. I mean, some people that when I lived in Africa, our electricity went out every day. It was a normal thing. I just heard somebody say the reason they left Puerto Rico was the same thing, but their electricity goes out for days on end. Right? There's, I used to say, you know, whenever I had you know, a general gripe, you know, my daughters would say it's first world problem, right? Because if you've lived in a third world country, which we have, you know, the first world stuff is like, oh, well, you got no, your water's turned off for the day or something because there's plumbing being done, or you know, you've got no hot water for an hour. You know, first world problems. I'm sorry, but it is because like anyway, I don't need to go on, do I? Right? Yes, it's a disruption. Is it going to kill you? No. No. Anyway, telling a lot of story. We're gonna move on. So relating to the fear, relating to this sensation in the body, right? So that we can rise through, well, not really through, with that aspect of ourselves in relationship towards our revelation, towards the rise, towards the expansion. But just know, if you've only got expansion, you're going to be dead too. Right? Told you, contemporary mysticism, the practical mystic. I'm going to tell you like it is. If you're only contracted, you're going to be dead. If you're only expanded, you're going to be dead. Right? So when you're in that, you say, oh, thank you. After you've been in that, thank you. May have been that, thank you. Right? Because it's the breath. It's the breath. It's the rhythm. It's life. It's life. What a miracle. What, you know, back in the day I used to teach, so I'm going to say it because it's still true. There are thousands of souls or soul not embodied aspects of soul, right? And you are in a body. Celebrate that, even for the moment of that consideration. Those that connect with spirit, all the angelics that aren't embodied. You know, the human soul embodiment is a very high state. Except that we have the ability to touch, move, experience through this vessel. The embodiment. So soul embodiment has been my journey because I was so expanded, right? I didn't want to be in the body. I loved being that expanded. But I was missing out on majority of the journey because, you know, to really experience life, to really experience intimacy with another, you know, in this planet, to be really here, you've got eternity to not be embodied. So if you remember the F, the feel the sensation, the E, the embrace and experience, and the A, accept, to build a new or a different or a shifting of the relationship with fear, because you've all got a relationship. What sort of relationship is it? With the fear of fear or fear of love? right? So if you have the FEA, you are. You are. You are that frequency into and through the universe, the multiverse, the all and the no thing. Yeah. As you are the world shaper. So I have put the, let me see. I put the link in the chat for Revelate. Oh, yeah, it's put it into all of them. So I'll leave it there. We're going to go over to our inner circle to go deeper into this. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you again. We have Regulate to Elevate tomorrow. So if you're in that, I'll see you tomorrow. And those of you that like these lives, I'll be back on Tuesday. Until we meet again, may the blessings be. Much love. Let me see. Do a little bow out.